All right. Welcome back, everybody. We hope you enjoyed that showing from the rookie grand finals of Get Good EU. But we're back now. It's time for the expert division. I'm Shy Guy, again here with Ocean as we get ready to dive into this matchup. Arcane Dragons taking on the Shanghai Wagons. That's not going to get confusing for sure over the course of this series in another rematch of the upper bracket final.
I just find it hilarious that we got Shanghai versus the Dragons. I just think that's odd. But quick things to point out about these teams. Both of these teams have been very, very busy with not only this grand final today, but they've been busy with other projects as well. Arcane Dragons have played 4 matches of Open Division today, and they've done relatively well. They will start off again tomorrow in the losers bracket round 5 of Open Division. So congrats to them. And Shanghai Wagons been pretty busy themselves. They actually just won their loser bracket final to make it here to our grand finals. And another thing that's interesting is these two teams played each other before, with Arcane Dragons taking the W in the upper bracket final.
Yeah, and I mean, Shanghai Wagons just coming in off of a 5-map series of their own, looking to get a little bit of revenge this time around. We saw it go that direction in the rookie finals as Benchwarmer Zero were able to get some revenge against GG Easy Idiot Sandwich. And, now we're going to see if we can repeat that performance with the Shanghai Wagons getting their, chance to get some comeuppance here. But we're going to start things off on the Paul here today, which, again, is to me always a very interesting map to kick things off, because it's very dependent on the points that you kind of roll in the RNG, which one comes up first. They all play incredibly differently, especially Village.
Yeah, Village is very, very unique because it's kind of like Legion Night Market, where you're just trying to control the space on the point. However, on Sanctum, you're trying to control the space around the point, or on the high ground as well as Shrine. So it's unique compared to the other points, but there are points similar to it in the game, like Legion Night Market. And Nepal, interesting enough, is Arcane Dragons preferred control map, and Shanghai Wagons, well, they prepare to play in China, and they prefer Legion Tower, but we're going to Arcane Dragons' preferred map. So later in the series, you might see Legion, and that could help the Shanghai Wagons out. However, it's Arcane Dragons' playing field right now.
Yeah, that's the advantage they get by virtue of coming through the upper bracket, of having not lost up to this point in the playoffs so far. Now we're down to just 2 teams remaining, and it's just going to come down to execution on the day. These are our top 2 teams in the division. It all comes down to this. The grand finals start now. We're going to kick things off on Shrine here as we see a lot of variety here with the Sim TP strike, getting the Shanghai Wagons out of the spawn quite quickly.
Yeah, so they're going to be running for the more consistent double shield composition with the Baptiste Brig, and needing to find some potent damage with the Ashe. However, they're coming into a potent dive composition with the Lucian.
Yeah, but Eagle already finding 2 quick kills, able to take the Echo and then the Mercy out of the sky. A great start now for the Shanghai Wagons as they kick things off. They're going to be able to get that first cap relatively uncontested at this point. They've still got Lectix kind of floating around in their backlines, waiting for an opportunity, but they're off to the right start.
Yeah, Arcane Dragons running something similar to what Chengdu Hunters ran earlier, but with the Mercy Lucian heals, you don't have too much healing, so it's all about that Wrecking Ball getting the adaptive shield, and those engagements have to be perfect.
Nize already giving up on the Echo, going over to the Genji. We'll see what they can get done, but again, it's the Mercy. Mio falling really, really early here into the fight, and the Shanghai Wagons, with this kind of more traditional meta composition right now, are really just firmly in control.
So usually when you're running a dive, you want to be able to control the high ground around the double shield, pressure them, maybe force rotation, and then make a commitment play onto an out of position player. However, there's no high ground to control here realistically. You only have that left hand side, which is high ground over the engaging team, so nothing really for them to control, and it's definitely paying dividends here. The Shanghai Wagons are running that more consistent competition.
And now they've got the Amp Matrix out, bumping up a lot of the damage that the team is poking out right now. The dive from the side of Arcane Dragons, just waiting for an opportunity, but not going to get it as gas goes down. Melon able to find the connection with those sticky bombs the focusing beam as well, putting out insane amounts of damage. And so far, the Arcane Dragons just have not been able to find any openings here. They haven't used a single ultimate so far in this point, but now they're finally starting to come online.
Yeah, they're not even really close to that EMP as they're going to try and build up to that with a hack onto Mompy and build up that ultimate charge, but no, not much as they are close and they're going to look for a huge combo.
Yeah, now the blade coming in from Nize, can't quite find any targets just yet. He gets over the wall for now, buys some time, but in the end, Nize able to chop down 2, and they will finally be able to find some progress on the point, but it's going to come at the cost of 99% on the board for the Shanghai Wagons.
Yeah, Arcane Dragons, what they do there is they wait patiently to where they have one of their win conditions online. The win condition they select is their Dragon Blade. They put all resources in with it. They get a huge power drive alongside it, and that's enough for them to win the fight. So this dive competition they're running is good at controlling high grounds and sort of using their win conditions to their advantage. Their next win condition online is that EMP. Let's see if they use it to their advantage.
Arnie Albin's getting poked down quite a bit here, having to back off as Shanghai Wagons make their way towards the point. Looking for that EMP, it hits onto 5, and that's the go signal now for the Arcane Dragons to push forward. They're going to be able to clean up a couple of quick kills, and now the fight is turning on its head a little bit here. Shanghai Wagons answering back. They commit the Gravitic Flux there from Mumpy. No kills just yet off of that, but they're still in this fight. The res from Mayo, though, could be absolutely massive. Brings Chiss back into the fight, and Arcane Dragon, they cannot afford to give this one up.
Chiss is going to have to try and get that sound barrier up, however, with all the shields on the point, it's going to be extremely difficult. Winston manages to re-engage, but they'll have a little bit more time to think about what they want to do with those ultimates.
Everybody just backs off for a brief second, now ready to go back in. The sound barrier is out from Chiss as well as those mines from Lectix. Is forcing Shanghai Wagons back, and the boop into the mines takes Joey down incredibly low. The main take will eventually fall there, and Shanghai Wagons, for all the effort they put into that fight, aren't able to come up with anything and are now down to one final attempt.
Yeah, as I said, Arcane Dragon's dive composition is so good at utilizing their win conditions, and their win condition eventually was getting that Dragon Blade online, and once they did get that Dragon Blade online, there was no going back, and Shanghai Wagons sent back to spawn. However, they have a slight ultimate advantage for this fight they've got to take advantage of.
Yeah, the duplicate going to be coming out, turning Melon into a monkey here as they go in deep, but still the kills are there for Arcane Dragons. The dive is too coordinated right now. Lectix and Nize chiming in for 3, and the Wrecking Ball has just been a terror ever since they got control of the point. They are not letting it go. They finish off Melon. It is just the Lucio buying some time here, and that's going to be all she wrote for Shrine. It's Shanghai Wagons. They get to 99, but they cannot seal the deal.
Yeah, they do well in that fight, that first fight, and they're able to control the space and use their ultimates from there. However, once Arcane Dragons are able to build up to their win conditions and utilize them and sort of initiate with their flank plans perfectly, that's where it goes downhill for Shanghai Wagons. And it'll be interesting to see here, as we see 2 different double shield compositions here. The Ryan Sigma likes to get up close and personal, and we see the Orisa Reinhardt, which just has so much more shield and wants to play a little bit further away from you, and wants to make sure that they can kite back and keep a long range distance to get the maximum effectiveness from that Orisa damage. But both running the Lucio BAP, so that kiting battle versus engagement battle between the Lucios and how they use their speed boost is going to be particularly interesting.
Both teams using that Symmetra TP to try and get some early position on the point. It's just going to result in a fight here. The Mei wall out from Nize is quite good to isolate a few targets, but Shanghai Wagons quickly break through, and now we've just got a brawl going on here. Neither team really able to get a lot of ground, but Mompy goes down despite the beefy health pool of the Orisa and all the shielding. They just cannot stand up to the focus fire of Arcane Dragons.
As I said, that Ryan Signal composition prefers to be up close and personal, and they make sure they get up close and personal, and that's where the fight just turns on its head. It's a quick and easy fight win for Arcane Dragon, and Shanghai Wagons are going to have to rethink how they play their composition, maybe stay a little bit further away, play a little bit more patient, look for some holds, and get some damage in from there before they even think about engaging.
They push out now as the fight kind of commencing, split up right now between the high ground and the point. Arcane Dragons kind of just falling back to their safe refuge right now, just looking to play the geometry here. The Amp Matrix is out, but the wall is very nice to kind of block a lot of the value that Shanghai Wagons can get from it. Now a responsive ultimate's coming out from Arcane Dragons. The Flux not yet finding anything, but no one able to make progress so far.
Yeah, they're unable to even get into this point. They're trying to navigate around the spectral turrets, but now they've got the photon barrier. That's a 2-1-9, however, they may well have something else to say about it.
That Nize comes up clutch with that one right as Shanghai Wagons were making their move. The wall comes up, cuts them in half, and ends any hopes they had of making that push work for them. And now things get very awkward here for the Shanghai Wagons. They're going to be pushing into a lot of ultimates on the other side, even with all the tools that they've got at their disposal.
Yeah, their biggest ultimate is the Blizzard, and Nazi also has their Blizzard online. When you're pushing into a main, you have to watch your chokes, you have to watch your corners, and it's really difficult to get it better at that main matchup, especially when you're on the offense.
Indeed it is, and now we're going to see that dance on the point. The early Blizzard is out from Melon, but the wall, again, from Nize is clutch to protect the team, but it's not going to matter at the end of the day. Shanghai Wagons finally find some progress on the point. 96% on the board, though, for Arcane Dragons, and they held on to their ults.
Yeah, Shanghai Wagons running a different composition, so what they're going to look to do is control the high ground for their Ash Eagle to throw in some dynamites and do some massive damage into the Arcane Dragons line. However, you're playing against 5 ultimates online for the Arcane Dragons. They managed to get it down to last fight territory, which means they just need to win one more fight to take the entire map and take the lead in our grand finals, and they have the perfect opportunity to do so.
And the TP completely denies Eagle any of that value from the high ground. The Blizzard is out now from Neasy. So many members caught up in that. The Immortality Field cannot save you for very long, but still the supports survived for a little while. The rest of the focus was on the remaining members of the Shanghai Wagons. They will fall. Arcane Dragons close it out, and after a close first point, Village is all Arcane Dragons. They close out Nepal. They are up 1-0.
Yeah, once they kind of find their footing, that map was never really close. As soon as they were set up for their win conditions on Shrine, they looked dominant. And I mean, they knew how to play this. They knew to get it inside the last fight territory and then win it from there. And they executed perfectly with their sensational symmetric teleporter to deny Eagle, and then they just teleport onto the point, and it's over from there. Nothing really Shanghai Wagons could do. And Arcane Dragons take the lead in our series.
Indeed, and they do it by playing a significant amount of variety there on Nepal. They break out that interesting dive look there for Shrine, are able to come back, fight that one back from 99-0, and then just cruise to the win on Village, rolling over to that brawly comp that I don't think we're going to see a lot more of throughout the series, but still it's encouraging to see them coming to the table with a lot of different looks and able to execute on each of them. Yeah,
for sure. I mean, that's what you kind of need on those control maps where all the points are so sporadic and so different, where you need to have a little more versatility and utility in your hero pool to make sure you can play all those different compositions to make sure you have the advantage for each control point. But now, we look forward to the next map, and Shanghai Wagons have the opportunity to pick our map. Our next map type, of course, is Escort. So they get a choice of one of their Escort maps, and they're going to go for Reold. So they think that's the best map to get themselves into the series. And what Arcane Dragons now get to do is they get to select whether they attack or defend first, on the benefit of them winning their previous map.
So they will go with the defense to kick things off here. And now I'm going to be interested to see if we settle into a little bit more of kind of a standard meta back and forth at this point. This is where I think teams would start to lean towards that Orisa Sigma as your tank duo, and start to break out things like the Genji a little bit more. We already, of course, saw that in the dive for Arcane Dragons on Shrine, but now it's going to be a much different style of play required as you work around the halts and all of the kind of brawling that goes on from here on out.
Yeah, this is for me like more of a prolific meta versus meta. We're just gonna see the typical meta right now, which is the Ashe Genji DPS line, the Orisa Sigma for your tanks, and your more consistent support option of the Baptiste and Bright. You can run the Baptiste and Zen as well. And recently, as well, we've seen in the Overwatch League, we've seen a little bit of a different adaptation when the Orisa isn't allowed. We've seen the Zarya wins and dive composition with the Ashe Genji as well, which has also been pretty prevalent.
Yeah, indeed. As we get into this map, the thing I'm going to be watching for is how do these teams utilize those halts. Joey and Lectic going to be crucial for setting up the rest of their team for a lot of damage for potential stun. We see a nice one there coming in from the side of Arcane Dragons. Melon not willing to go in too deep with the dash just yet, wants to stay safe right now as they build up to that first Dragon Blade, and going into the back to provide a little bit of an alternate angle now, putting some pressure on the back line. But Nise just wants to look for the duel right now. You can see that style playing out as they're so far behind in terms of ult charge. The Blade already online for Melon now.
Yeah, Melon building up that Dragon Blade super fast and has doubled the ultimate charge of their counterparts, so they're going to be looking for a combo here. However, they're just going to wait out that Matrix first.
That's a smart decision there. They bait out one ultimate. Now they're going to be able to go in with their own Amp Matrix, with Melon providing some pressure from an alternate angle. They drop the window as they push out through this tight choke point, but that's just going to group everybody up on the side of Arcane Dragons. Melon finds one and is providing such a distraction in the back line right now, and that's going to prompt a rotation here from Shanghai Wagons. They commit their Gravitic Flux to finish off this fight. They should be able to grind this one out.
Yeah, despite that just being one team fight and the first team fight being one for Shanghai Wagons, look at the time, like a minute and a half already drained, and also ultimates. Arcane Dragons will have 5 or 6 of them in the next fight. A small advantage over Shanghai Wagons, who will look to, continue their momentum that they've got in the cart so far. They need to control this space and control this bridge area. Otherwise, Arcane Dragons are going to come back into this courtyard section with an amazing chance of full holding.
Yeah, the Supercharger is letting Shanghai just kind of burst through the shields on the other side. Lectix has already fallen in the Blade, not finding anything for Nise in the back right now. Gets completely blocked out of that fight, cannot close in on any targets. And that's going to be Shanghai Wagons just continuing the momentum. They get through point A, and despite the ult disadvantage, they play that fight really, really well.
Yeah, they managed to control that really, really long bridge sight line. It's really similar to the long sight line at the end of King's Row Point B, kind of staring into Point C, where you have to walk across a massive sort of sight line where you can easily get picked off. There's so much sort of poo space that I like to describe it as. You're kind of standing in poo when you're in that space, so you need to sort of move away from that, use the natural cover, and there is no natural cover to use. Shanghai Wagons take advantage of that situation well, and they're going to continue on rolling through.
Yeah, and without the brig there, Shanghai Wagons, they're able to contest that stairs high ground really, really early. Now the halt into the Gravitic Flux is going to set them up to keep the momentum going. Atlas has fallen, and so many cooldowns being forced out of Arcane Dragons right now. Shanghai Wagons going in deep, the Blade out from Melon. Can he find some kills here? Doesn't actually get the finishing blows necessarily, but the damage is there, and an easy point B for the Wagons.
Yeah, they just roll through off the momentum that they got from point A, and realistically, Arcane Dragons lost a lot of that map, sort of power and control they had of this map when they used a lot of those ultimates to ring contest, and they were just unable to touch the point and make sure that they could get a fight in. Ultimate advantage since then has been firmly in favor of Shanghai Wagons, and they're going to probably roll that through until the end of the real ultimate.
They just might, but that Amp Matrix is quite nice there to push the Shanghai Wagons back. They managed to survive through it all, though, so they kite out the initial aggression from the Dragons, and now they're looking to go back in. They've got the Supercharger backing them up, but they have lost Eagle in the meantime. Big source of damage gone now for the Dragons, or for the Wagons, and now the Dragons looking to push the advantage here as they want to hunt down some of these members on the retreat.
Yeah, they didn't give us the nicest team names to cast over today, did they?
No, this is unfair.
Yeah, not at all. Yeah, and Arcane Dragons, that fight is super important for them. They get the Supercharger and the ball out of Shanghai Wagons, which now also means that they have the ultimate advantage in the fight. The ultimate economy is being flipped on its head, and Nise going with the Dragon Blade to see what it can do.
They've got some armor from the rally, but still having to back off after diving in initially. Has to use that reflect really, really early. Now the trade of the Gravitic Fluxes goes in, but no kills just yet. The sustain from both these teams has been excellent so far throughout this map. No one willing to give up an inch, but now the blade is in from Melon. The immortality field saving Arcane Dragons for the time being, but no more field, no more immortality, and no more chances for the Arcane Dragons. They get swept off the point, and Shanghai come up big. They finish Rialto with 2:47 on the clock.
Yeah, that's a massive time bank in particular for Rialto. My favorite fact in the entirety of this video game is Rialto has got the highest full hold rate in the game. It even had a higher full hold rate than Paris did when it was in the competitive rotation. So that's a really cool fact for you guys if you didn't know, especially with that really potent courtyard section. On first point, you got that stairway. On second point, that's incredibly difficult to come by. And you got all those pillars around to provide natural cover for the defenders on third point, which makes Rialto incredibly difficult to take all 3 points and complete it. However, 2 minutes 47 on the time bank is fantastic from Shanghai, capitalizing on Arcane Dragon's mistake when they tried to get across the bridge and recontest. They lost their ultimate advantage, and Shanghai take advantage to go for a snowball and set a time on the clock.
And that felt like the crucial kind of turning point in that first round was when Shanghai Wagons were able to close out point A, despite a bit of an ult disadvantage, despite having already lost 2 minutes off their time bank. They finish out that fight, and then they're able to snowball from there to finish with an insanely impressive time. Considering the first fight lasted 2 minutes to finish with 2:47, just incredible stuff, and they are on a roll right now.
Yeah, and roll indeed. However, Arcane Dragons, that looked pretty good in our first map, and they were able to turn it around specifically on the Pole Shrine. Let's see if they can do it again here on Rialto.
Indeed, we're just going to see the standard kind of trading going on from the high ground right now from Shanghai Wagons. Now they back off to the corner where pretty much every defensive team makes their stand here, and they find a nice opening pick there. Eagle getting the better of Nizi as they tried to go into the back, and now that's a good delay here for Shanghai Wagons. It's not going to be anything that they can snowball into a full-on team wipe or anything, but it buys them some time.
Yeah, time is so crucial in the defense. If you make the fight last longer, you're making the timer tick down, especially when you've got a really nice time bank. Making these fights last as long as possible is a really good strategy that Shanghai Wagons could use to their advantage.
Indeed they could, and somehow Melon able to get into the back, takes down Chiss, seizes an opportunity, and that's going to be another fight win here for the Shanghai Wagons. As they push forward, they force the remaining members of the Arcane Dragons off the edge, and now they not only do they win those first couple of fights, but they get off to a good start when it comes to these ultimates. They're going to have that Amp Matrix ready to go, and they have Blade for Melon as well. Pretty much everything coming online for the Wagons.
Yeah, the Wagons now have to select when they use their ultimates efficiently, and they won't need to use their ultimates if Arcane Dragons just keep beating like that. They're just getting picked off constantly, and hasn't been a real fight here for the Wagons. They've just been building up their ultimates and setting up for when the Arcane Dragons finally do engage on that.
Yeah, and, Arcane Dragons were fine on the first half, in terms of playing defensively, having the kind of positional advantage, but so far it has not worked out on the attack. The Gravitic Flux sets up a couple of quick kills there. The Dynamite from Eagle was absolutely perfect, and the coordination from Shanghai Wagons, now that they've gotten on to this kind of meta composition, is just off the charts.
Yeah, they threw in just 3 ultimates for that fight, and when I sort of digging into a weaker time bank for Arcane Dragons, 1 minute 35 on the clock, and they're just building up to their ultimates now, so they still have to win this fight and then get it for the entirety of the map. I don't think it's even possible for them to beat that time bank realistically if Shanghai Wagons play their cards right, so already an advantage for Shanghai in this map.
Abel's on a bit of a flank here, hits a massive Dynamite, able to deal with the Immortality field as well. Melon tries to go in, answer with the Blade, but it's not going to happen. The setup too clean there for the Arcane Dragons. They finally find their answer and they push through, but the point A is not done just yet.
Yeah, they can come back in, and I think they'll have a little bit of time to sort of mentally reset, come back in, re-engage on this point, but they have to get across the bridge, do what Arcane Dragons failed to do in the last round, and against the Outmatch, this is going to be really tough.
Yeah, and they don't really have many ultimates to push in with. Noya Sucks could get up to her rally, but already the tank line is gone. The Brig is down as well. And Arcane Dragons not even having to commit anything beyond that initial Amp Matrix to finish off the fight. They maintain their ult economy really well.
Yeah, they do. That means they only use one ultimate to capture the end of point B, and Shanghai Wagons, their ultimate economy situation isn't like too bad. They're still building up towards that Gravitic Flux and Dragon Blade, which are their main sort of win condition ultimates other than their superchargers. So they're building up towards those critical ultimates. So if they can build those up, they'll have a good chance of dealing with the Dragon's persistence, but otherwise it's going to be really difficult for Shanghai.
Yeah, the rally is going to force the Arcane Dragons off of that high ground contest they were going for. Now the Bob providing a bit of a distraction now, but Arcane Dragons slowly but surely pushing this cart forward, getting ready to take this fight. The blade out from Neezy. Can he get onto anyone in the backline? The Immortality field kind of keeps him at bay, and Noya Sucks eventually able to deal, but the distraction was provided. Lectix and the rest of the crew are winning the frontline fight for the time being. Gas on a nice off angle right now, looking to take down their opposite number, but the healing out from Cake so far has been fantastic, but eventually the supports will fall, and Shanghai Wagons not going to be able to contest this one.
Well, the first thing I'm going to discuss is Shanghai Wagons using their Bob and rally extremely early in the fight for time. And their trade for time is because they know they've set a pretty potent time bank, and they know that they're going to have a better time bank than Arcane Dragons. So they're trading ultimates for time, which forces Arcane Dragons to back on. And, well, yes, you do that, but you also sacrifice your chance to really win the next fight, knowing that you're sort of giving Arcane Dragons that ultimate advantage later on in that fight. So maybe Shanghai Wagons get a little bit overzealous with their fight planning and might want to rethink their strategy here.
Now they're going to be forced back by that Amp Matrix out from Mayo, but still, Shanghai Wagons looking to make a contest of this. They've got the Supercharger out, bulking everybody up, and nearly able to take down Lectix. The Immortality field from Mayo is great, but that Dynamite from Eagle is better. Finds the double kill. So much damage coming through from the Ash, and Shanghai Wagons stabilize.
Yeah, they build up to that critical ultimate, which is Supercharger. A very potent ultimate. Actually had the oh no, Mayo. Finally getting staggered out there. But as I was saying, Supercharger actually had the highest team fight win percentage of any ultimate in Overwatch League Season 2. So that ultimate particularly good, and they clean up the fight with a Supercharger plus Dynamite combo. Just that simple cooldown partnered with the Supercharger is enough for Shanghai Wagons to win that team fight alone, and they still keep a pretty good ultimate economy. They still have their Dragon Blade and Gravitic Flux, which are two very powerful ultimates, and they can get some time off the clock by using that.
Yeah, but the Flux is beautiful out from Arcane Dragons here, but it's not going to matter at all. The Amp Matrix is undeniable there. The damage is elite, and the defense holding strong.
Yeah, and not the greatest trade for Shanghai Wagons. You know, you use a couple of ultimates and you only get one out of the opposition, and you're gonna have to face both DPS ultimates in the next fight with your own, without any tank ultimates or support ultimates to support it. However, Arcane Dragons only really have the advantage when it comes to the amplification matrix being online, as well as the supercharger. So realistically, if they can get out of that window of opportunity for the offense, then they'll have a great chance of holding them on point C Rialta.
Cake is quick on the reaction time, doesn't get caught off guard by the Amp Matrix, so Shanghai Wagons just able to fall back, and Lectix drops that supercharger very early on, and it's going to give Nize the punching power they need to make that blade valuable. Melon tries to go in for their own, but nothing doing. Shut down. It was a last-ditch effort, and it doesn't work out. Now just some potential stall here is not going to make it for the Shanghai Wagons, and they're going to have a significant time bank advantage going into the extra rounds, but that final fight well executed by the Arcane Dragons.
Yeah, I want to direct our viewers' attention over to the Genjis, because at the start of this sort of map, and the start of that round in particular, Nizai was really struggling to build up that Dragon Blade. Melon has consistently been either an ultimate ahead or just double the ultimate charge of Nizai this entire round. However, that sort of flipped on its head at the end. Melon was struggling to get value out of his Dragon Blades on their defense, and Nizai kind of then took the better of the Genji duel. So that's another duel we're going to have to watch out for as Arcane Dragons go for their second attack.
Yeah, and that was a little bit of a flip from what we were seeing kind of earlier on in this map, where Melon, I thought, was really finding a lot of value and working well off of the setup from Joey and the rest of the team. But Arcane Dragons, after a slow start, they finally get there, their feet up underneath them. They finish off the map. They give themselves a shot here. If they can come out with a strong attack, they'll have a really good chance to win this. I mean, all it takes here on Rialto is getting kind of close to the end of point A, because as you said, this point very full holdable.
Yeah, and interesting to see Abels go for the Widowmaker instead. Just gonna look to take on Eagle and hit scan duel. Of course, Widowmaker having the benefit in that sniper duel of not having any damage drop off, so that's what that Widowmaker is going to be looking to do for the offense.
That's the Shanghai Wagons. They've got to be, cognizant of that Widowmaker. They seem to have found Abels on the flank there, looking down that long alleyway, trying to find an opportunity. They need to be careful of these continued peaks, but they've just left the Sigma shield there to keep the Widowmaker from having any ability to influence this fight whatsoever. Abel's still looking for an opportunity, but just drops into the canal, and their teammates are finding kills in the front line, but still, that's an awkward thing for the Widowmaker to do. Melon trying to bring this one back. If they can find Neo, could have gotten that dash reset, but the Baptiste gets the better of it, and now with the time headed into overtime, Arcane Dragons are pushing forward, and they're in a good position to get some progress.
Yeah, they'll get some progress, however. Dragon Blade and Bob almost online for the defense, and nothing really to counteract it besides maybe the amplification matrix. I will just getting started on the Ash ultimate charge, having to switch over from the Widowmaker after coming into the canal after losing their grappling capability.
Okay, the Immortality Field kind of negates the Dragon Blade though, so now an opportunity for Arcane Dragons to continue this push. Nizai has already found the tank line, both of them gone, and he's going to commit his own Dragon Blade here to just be a bit of an insurance policy, but the rally, or the Brigitte, Noya Sucks, able to finish off that kill. The stun is too much, and that Gravitic Flux completely whiffs from Guess. This is an opportunity for Shanghai Wagons. They can push back in here. They've got the Immortality Field keeping everyone alive. The Supercharger giving them extra power in this fight. They might just be doing this.
I think they're gonna do it. Just Gas on the point now. After that, Gravitic Flux didn't get anything, and Shanghai Wagons will hold on in the back. Of Nizai's Dragon Blade getting nothing. The Inspire able to be kept up by the Brigitte, meaning that the Genji could not lock up that kill. The consistent healing from Brigitte, and the Inspire from Brigitte, how it works is if you hit an opposition enemy, you will get a consistent amount of healing for the next 4 seconds. So making sure that you keep that consistent healing online, and that consistent healing saved them from that Dragon Blade, and Shanghai Wagons will full hold Arcane Dragons on point A.
And now things get really, really difficult here for Arcane Dragons, because you have to full hold. You have no other option at this point if you want to win this map and avoid, Shanghai Wagons tying up the series, winning their map pick here on Rialto, and that's going to be difficult given what we saw the first time around. The Shanghai Wagons are more than capable of winning this one out, but now it's just going to come down to execution here. We've seen crazier things, to be sure. 324, not the largest time bank in the world, but roughly equivalent to what you start with on a normal attack.
Yeah, just have a little bit less. However, you now have a win condition now. You're kind of just setting up to only cap point A and not the entirety of Rialto, so your approach is a little bit different for the offense here. Your approach is going to be about winning consistent team fight as fast as possible and setting up for that last one on the courtyard, which is particularly difficult.
Absolutely. We'll see what kind of openings present themselves for the Shanghai Wagons as they push forward. Eagle just poking in on the side, finds a momentary lapse in the shield, takes down their opposite number, and now just able to get aggressive alongside the rest of the team. They're pushing in with that Brigitte, with the Inspire up for Noya Sucks, and now an early blade out for Melon is going to put an end to this first fight.
Yeah, Noya Sucks lighting up the kill feed for her team on the Brigade Sabine, and particularly impressive so far in this support lineup for Shanghai Wagons as they look to try and control this bridge section that they did so well in their first offense. Ultimate advantage, although there for Arcane Dragons is Nize already up to that Dragon Blade.
Yeah, and again, the Ant Matrix just melting the shields of Arcane Dragons. They all fall to that dynamite. A triple kill there for Eagle and Shanghai Wagons. They come up big. They get the clutch defense there to stop the overtime push from Arcane Dragons and then finish things off quite cleanly there. They take Rialto, they tie up the series, and we have got a good one on our hands.
Yeah, we have to highlight Noya Sucks on the Brigade for not only that triple kill on the offense, which was hilarious to watch, but also just making sure that Inspire stays up on the defense, keeping their team alive from that Dragon Blade, and making sure that the supports do their job. And Shanghai Wagons are back in the series, 1-1, as we now head into Arcane Dragons map choice for a hybrid map.
Yeah, we'll see how they want to respond, because to me, from what we've seen on these first two maps, Shanghai Wagons seem to be the better team when it comes to the standard meta composition right now. I think they've been a little bit more coordinated when it comes to taking advantage of kind of the shield timings, and any moment that Arcane Dragons have a shield down, it can be the moment that costs them a fight. Whereas Arcane Dragons, they excelled playing some kind of off-kilter stuff there on Control, on Nepal. They switched up the style a little bit, and it worked out well for them. Will they have opportunities to do that throughout the rest of the series? I don't really know the answer to that right now.
So Blizzard World is a little bit of a unique map, and that's what we're going to be going to next, I believe. Whether when you're playing King's Row, you're kind of giving 3 high ground to the Ash, and Apples was really struggling in that sort of hit scan versus hit scan duel. As we evidently saw by the little jump off the map after wasting the grappling hook to make sure they try and get a sideline on the Ash. They weren't able to do so, and then they had no escape right as they went over the edge of the map, and then consistently I felt that Apples was losing that duel for Arcane Dragons, and Shanghai Wagons able to take the better of that one. So King's Row was kind of eliminated from Arcane Dragons' choice right now. They're not winning those hit scan duels. They're not going to be able to control that high ground. So where do you go? Hollywood, again, is a map that's going to be controlled by those high grounds. So they're going to go to Blizzard World, which kind of helps Shanghai Wagons in the sense that you're playing that more consistent double shield meta composition. However, they're not going to have the same sightlines for their Ash, and that was sort of the main downfall for Arcane Dragons. So that's probably their thought process going into Blizzard World.
Most definitely, and I'm curious to see if Arcane Dragons go off script a little bit here at all. They're going to be starting off on the defense, which is interesting given that this was their map pick, and Shanghai Wagons could have taken that away from them if they so chose. But still, we're seeing a bit of an adjustment here from the Arcane Dragons. Nize not going to try and run the Genji, at least on the defense. Wants to go for a bit more of kind of a counter comp here with the Torbjorn in play.
Yeah, they're going to go for the Torbjorn, which is going to try and nullify the space that Melon wants to use. I don't think Melon's actually playing Symmetra here. They're just going to use that for a quick TP out of spawn. Probably going to teleport to that bottom left-hand side, and they're going to use the natural cover to avoid a bit of damage. Yeah, the Torbjorn is just going to be to try and negate the space that the Genji has. Of course, neither we were saying has struggled in that Genji duel so far, and I think that's fair to say. So I like the Torbjorn pick just to try and nullify what Melon's doing rather than try and take that mirror that they're not so comfortable on.
Yeah, interesting to me, though, that they are going to have Chiss on the Mercy here, primarily to be a bit of a pocket for Apples and try and give them an advantage in this hit scan duel, get that damage boost going for the Ashe here. but Apple's playing very far back right now, looking for some poke in onto Melon, able to catch the Genji off guard a little bit, but it's just a trade of DPS for the time being, and Eagle, even without the pocket, feels fully comfortable taking this duel right now.
Yeah, Eagle just looks like the better Ashe right now in this game. Chase goes down as well, which means that the Shanghai Wagons have an opening here, and let's see if they take it.
Yeah, that was a great halt from Joey to set that one up, and now Shanghai Wagons free entry in onto the point. Nize has come back into the fight and is able to deal with Eagle, so we've got a bit of a tussle on our hands right now as the immortality field is a little bit misplaced for Mayo, and Arcane Dragons have to back off a little bit. They can't stick around that corner for very long. Melon looking for the damage, but can't get the deflect up in time. The turret finishes off the kill, and that's the go signal for Arcane Dragons. They're just going to hunt down these last couple of members. Joey taking a bit of a swim there, and despite giving up 2 ticks, Arcane Dragons, they hang on.
I really like that from Arcane Dragons. They know that they have the respawn advantage, and they know it was kind of a little bit of a messy engagement from the Shanghai Wagons, so they wait for their respawns to come back, and they're patient with their recontest. They give up 2 ticks, knowing that that's not really a big deal, especially when you're defending first. You're just kind of trying to set a win condition for yourself. And if you set just capping points as a win condition, you're fairly happy with that, so not bad from Arcane Dragons. However, they did look very, very sloppy in protecting their win condition, which looks to be that Torbjorn and trying to nullify Melon on the Genji.
Yeah, but now they've got so many ultimates to work with here. They're already going to force out a bit of a rotation here from Shanghai Wagons with that Amp Matrix up on the high ground. Now the Blade is going to come through from the side of Melon, but can't get anything done. Once again, they shut it down. Gas can't get that Gravitic Flux off. Nice accretion from Mumpy to keep them in the fight, but they're down numbers even with this Amp Matrix. Can they find some kills in the near future? They take down Mayo, so this is an opportunity now for the Shanghai Wagons to push back in. The Flux out for Mumpy doesn't seem to do a whole lot here, and this is just incredibly scrappy right now.
Yeah, it's scrappy from both teams, not getting any value from their ultimates, however. Defender's advantage here eventually is gonna look like it's gonna help Arcane Dragons out. Their Ashe is on the high ground, ready to go. Rally might be a little bit impromptu from and they will go back to the reset board here for Shanghai Wagons.
That was a really effective and really ballsy flank there from Abels to get in around the back, able to take down the supercharger when no one else on the defense was going to be able to do that, and gets a nice dynamite in as well. A lot of damage from that high ground, so a little bit of a comeback here for Abels after a rough time there on Rialto. Now, as this is down to 30 seconds, Shanghai Wagons, this is do or die at this point.
Yeah, last fight territory for them. They don't have many ultimates online. They just expanded their rally the last fight. They might be able to build up that Amp Matrix, and they will. So give me a tale of 2 Amp Matrixes here for those last fight.
Yeah, but so much else available for Arcane Dragons. They already find the opening pick as well. Cake is down. No res available on their side. They lose Joey as well, and this feels like it is all but impossible at this point. It's going to take a heroic effort from Eagle. They throw in the Bob to try and buy some time on the point, but it's just not going to happen here. Shanghai Wagons cannot break through, and Arcane Dragons, they show us exactly why they picked Blizzard World. They come up with the full hold, and they feel like this map has to kind of be in the bag now.
Yeah, Arcane Dragons did list Blizzard World as one of their preferred hybrid maps. They also listed King's Row, but as I said, they probably didn't want to take the Ashe Duel on King's Row. But speaking of the Ashe Duel, just putting Chase on the Mercy probably enabled Abels to have so much more confidence in taking those off angles, and that meant the Eagle had to always be thinking, always be looking out for where the Ashe is rotating to. And that made things difficult for the Shanghai Wagons. They weren't winning those Ashe Duels consistently like they were in the previous map, and after that first fight, it was looking good for Shanghai Wagons. However, they didn't finish off the fight. They didn't finish off the point. The recontest from Arcane was so great, and they weren't unable to do something. And Arcane Dragons now going for an offense. There's plenty of win conditions. You got the Nano Blade, you got the EMP, you got the Minefield, the Primal Rage to try and displace players. So they're just going for a full-on. We have multiple win conditions. We're going to try and take this map.
Yeah, I really like what Arcane Dragons have done so far on this map. They go away from the Genji as well. Stop trying to just take that duel straight up between Niza and Melon. They just go over the Torbjorn and they completely shut down Melon on that defense. He got absolutely nothing going from any of his blades. All the attention was on him anytime he tried to dive in the back, and they play that extremely well. Now with the dive comp, we're already seeing some pressure come out on Shanghai Wagons. They know that the Wrecking Ball is floating around there somewhere behind them, waiting for an opportunity to come in and buy some space. But the nice halt there from Joey is going to enable the focus fire in onto the Lectix. So a little bit of a delay here, but shouldn't be anything too damaging for Arcane Dragons.
Yeah, it's nothing too damaging because they're just setting up and waiting. They're waiting so that they can... Oh, hang on. Do they know this someone's here?
They know Apples is somewhere, and they're trying to find them. The hack not able to come through actually does get it down on the cake, so no immortality field for the time being. Can they capitalize on that? Indeed, Melon will fall. They cannot save the Genji there, so an opening now for Arcane Dragons. Lectix pushing onto the point, providing some pressure. They're just waiting for one golden opportunity to go in, finish off this fight, but Gas going incredibly low here. Will get healed back up. The shield comes up just in time, and now they have a bit of position on the point. Already a tick going down. Make that 2. Oh, not quite 2. They do end up getting the second tick. So even if Arcane Dragons lose this fight, they have gotten some value out of it.
They haven't used any ultimates. They just got a crucial hack on the cake, which meant that the immortality field wasn't online, so they didn't have to invest anything into the fight. And what they are getting close to is that EMP. So what they're going to do is they're going to set up for that EMP, and when they use that EMP, none of the ultimates for Shanghai Wagons will be online. So that means that they won't be able to use their 6-pack of ultimates, and Arcane Dragons will be free to have a little bit of a time period where they can just spam all their ultimates and have a good chance of winning this map.
Yeah, indeed. They're all kind of huddled up on the point right now. That's going to make for a good target for Apples as that EMP is now online. The blade out from Melon, again, just completely stymied. They haven't let him loose at all so far, and everyone just kind of scatters on the side of Arcane Dragons. Now they're ready to go in with all 6 of their ultimates. Apples with the EMP ready to go. The blade to immediately follow it from Nize. And they close out this fight. There's almost nothing for Shanghai Wagons to do at this point. They're trying to fight this back, but it's just not going to happen here. The overwhelming pressure from the Arcane Dragons will close out this fight, and they take Blizzard.
Shanghai Wagons were playing around that EMP. You saw the pizza on the side of their Shanghai Wagons spy check to try and find the Sombra EMP, however, didn't quite find it, was millimeters away, realistically, from finding that Sombra and making Arcane Dragons think again about re-engaging. But here is that EMP Dragon Blade combo that just wraps up points in and wraps up Blizzard World. Arcane Dragons take a 2-1 lead, and as we head into map 4.
I mean, that's the power of the full hold that we see there. You know, the fact that Arcane Dragons can stop them short of point A means that they can build up literally all 6 of their ultimates. They can wait for that EMP. They can go for the blade and close things out. So really well played by Arcane Dragons to swing the series back in their favor. And they did it in part by like what we were talking about earlier, going over to some of those unconventional comps, changing up, not just mirroring the meta.
Yeah, and I think we're going to go to a quick break shortly, but before I do, I want to put a message across the chat that they've got to spam this dragon to help out the Wagons. Now, if you're spamming the opposition team's mascot as well, it doesn't help just you.
Come on.
It works right here. You got to do better than that. You can't just keep the same old copy pasta. That's something to think about over the break.
Welcome back, everyone, to this barn burner of a series here as we dive further into the GitGud EU Grand Finals here in the expert divisions. The Arcane Dragons were able to push themselves to a 2-1 lead with that win on Blizzard World over the Shanghai Wagons, but we are now back as we head into map number 4. It's going to be Temple of Anubis in Ocean. What do we think that the Shanghai Wagons need to do to bring this series back?
So Shanghai, they need to stick to playing to their consistent composition. And when they're playing their consistent composition, they need to make sure they know when they want to fight, and they need to make sure they know how to cancel out the next fight. Like they did when they won the first fight on Real 2.0, they went and cancel out the next fight by controlling the space on the bridge. For example, when they win a fight here, they need to make sure that they then go and take the next fight, make sure that they take the bridge on their defense, so it's really difficult and more oppressive for their opposition to push into. So stuff like that is something I'm going to be looking for Shanghai Dragons, or Shanghai Wagons. It's so difficult with these teams, man, especially when Shanghai Dragons is literally a team.
It was going to happen at some point.
Yeah.
They are just trying to torture us here today with these team names, but we press forward, we adapt, we overcome, as that's exactly what Shanghai needs to do now if they want to bring this series back. They find themselves now down to match point. No more room for error for the Wagons. No more squeaky wheels can be allowed at this point. They've got to make their stand here now, and they're going to choose to take us to Temple of Anubis, which means, of course, that Arcane Dragons get to choose their map side, and they're going to pick defense as teams normally do. And, a lot of times that doesn't feel like a consequential choice, but we just saw that mean something pretty big on Blizzard World. The fact that Arcane Dragons, they got to go on defense first despite not having the choice. Shanghai Wagons didn't want to do it. They got full held, and that let Arcane Dragons go for that all-in kind of EMP-centered dive comp.
I mean, it could work both ways, as we saw in Real. So Shanghai Wagons were able to get a really nice fast time on the bank and just set the momentum, set the course for the rest of that map. And they wanted to do that again on Blizzard World, however, when they got stopped on point side, and that's where the problem is. The Arcane Dragons have a win condition set for them. And they used that win condition to their advantage. They just went for the EMP Dragonblade combination. That was it. Done. So there's pros and cons to both sides, but realistically, I would rather be in Arcane Dragon's boots here, defending first, setting a win condition for themselves, and then planning their fights accordingly on the offense.
Yeah, and it doesn't look like we're going to see a lot of changes from either of these teams coming out, at least for the first round. Arcane Dragons seem to have found a bit of an answer on the defense there of Blizzard World. They go over to this alternative comp. They put Chiss on the Mercy to back up Abels a little bit more. They get Nize onto the Torbjorn to help deter Melon on the Genji. So we'll see if they can have the same success, or if Shanghai Wagons can find some adaptations, change up the way that they approach this matchup.
Yeah, again, the goal here is to make Apples a little bit of advantage in the Astral because they were struggling on Rialto with that problem, and Torbjorn is to try and deny Melon any sort of space or any sort of flanking consequence on that Genji.
And so far, Melon just kind of sticking with the team for the time being, always on the hunt for an opportunity to go in. Does deflect that dynamite, so a lot of damage denied over to Shanghai Wagons as they're forced to back up off the high ground. They cannot really stick around in that fight, but Abels is still here in an advantageous position, has that damage boost, will back up to the safety of the rest of the team as the flank was coming through from Melon. But now they're backed into a corner and trying to fight their way out of it are the Arcane Dragons. We'll see if they can manage to do it, but they've already lost their Baptiste. That's so much of the team healing gone, and the rest of them fall like dominoes immediately after.
Yeah, they just kind of got forced with that high ground immediately. Shanghai Wagons coming onto them with intent, forcing out that rotation. Not even threatened by that Torbjorn as Melon already up to that Dragon Blade for the next fight. Snowball potential is there. However, it's going to be a little bit more difficult as the respawn advantage is there for the defense, and they're also coming online to some ultimates. But once they were forced to that low ground, and Eagle had the high ground with Dash and was able to throw dynamite in there, and they were then buckled into that little room, that fight was over.
Yeah, indeed. I like the swap we're seeing here from just going over the brig. They know that the Blade is going to be online soon from Melon. That can be a way to shut him down with those stuns. So we'll see if that becomes consequential in this fight. Is the Blade about to come out here for Melon, going very low early on. Doesn't want to dive in too deep, but now going in. The bash misses, and the dashes do not for Melon as they clean up several kills, and that just might be point B going over here. There's going to be an opportunity for a recontest. It's just how can they deal with the staggers?
Yeah, they got the recontest on, they've got the Gravitic Flux as well. They got at least one member of Shanghai Wagons, however the Gravitic Flux on the other side follows. It's all about the stall, and it's all about the ultimates they have online.
Okay, Electics does manage to find one kill, but they're going to need a little bit more than that if they want to actually bring this fight back. And Abels does chime in, but still, they're running out of bodies on the point. It's just Mayo here keeping it alive, and now with the Sigma back in the fight, Gas and the Chiss, they should be able to stabilize here with their spawn advantage.
Yeah, I mean, Mayo is just a hero there. Comes out and gets the original touch, and then gets 2 kills on the Lucio to make sure the Arcane Dragons can hold on. Of course, there was the original kill from Lectus as well on the Wrecking Ball, but Mayo is the hero of the day there for Arcane Dragons as they managed to save point B, at least for now. And Shanghai Wagons will have that Dragon Blade and Bulb online again as they want to push into point B.
Indeed, they will, but we'll see if they can make anything of that. They're going to have to deal with a Bob on the other side right now. It's already forced out an early immortality field from Cake, so the ultimate being traded for that crucial cooldown means that Shanghai Wagons won't really be able to push in too aggressively right away. They're going to have to poke and prod as they wait for some more ultimates to come online. They've almost got the Amp Matrix for Cake to go along with that Blade and Bob.
They managed to get that wall up onto the team, however, no panics from Shanghai Wagons and no pickoffs for Arcane Dragons as the fight commences.
Yeah, they use that Amp Matrix really nicely, and again, Melon able to dodge all of these shield bashes coming through from Chiss so far, and they clean up the last couple of members. It's just Lectics on the ball remaining. No heroics this time from the side of the Arcane Dragons, and Shanghai, when they needed it most, they come up big, they push through Anubis, and they're going to have about 3 minutes to work with on the clock.
And that's a relatively big time bank for Temple of Anubis. You don't really see those big time banks on this map in particular, because usually you'll take a bit of scouting on the first point to So scout out where your opponent is, where they're positioned, and then set up for your fight appropriately. And then you'll lose a little bit of time setting up, but usually that's the safer play to make. And then point B, usually you can get a long stall fight out. So that's a really impressive time out from Shanghai Wagons and Arcane Dragons. They need to be on their A game if they want to get back into this map.
Most definitely. They've now got to come up with some answers, and we haven't seen them play anything kind of standard on the attack recently. I mean, they only had to get the first point on Blizzard World, so I'm curious to see if they try to go for kind of those Sombra dive shenanigans again, knowing that it won't necessarily be as effective going into point B.
Yeah. Another important thing is that they make sure they have win conditions when they head into point B. And that's what they might look to do here, as we see Neze on the Sombra. So they might just look for another EMP combo like they did before. And almost on Onzo, not a look we've seen from there before, but I think the two might just be scout picks as they got the ball as well. So they're just going to scout it out and set up their win conditions later on.
Yeah, most of the team kind of sticking towards the spawn right now, waiting to potentially swap. Nize will go over to the Genji. They're just going to go back to that dive look once again here. They seem to like it, and it can work quite well here, especially on the first point of Anubis there. There's a lot of high ground to work with, but getting through this initial choke is going to be a big part of that test.
Yeah, and another thing to know is that the Winston dives in and gets a ton of damage. It's all about Noya sets and how they get those whip shots. So one, build the Inspire, and two, push away that dive competition they look to engage.
They've managed to repel them for now as gas goes down. The Winston getting melted as they tried to dive on in to push Shanghai Wagons off the high ground. Not successful the first time around, but they've got Lectix in the back line as a bit of a secret agent along with Abels. So now an opportunity to approach this fight from multiple different angles.
Yeah, they're gonna attempt to dive, one from the front, one from the back, and they're gonna disrupt the entirety of Shanghai Wagons and force them up the high ground, and now their DPS hits the high ground.
Okay, so mission accomplished on the first part, but now they've got to capitalize. They are going to have the blade up quite early here for Nize, a little bit ahead of Melon in terms of that. And the hack onto Cake means no immortality field. The blade could be free. He might not even need it. Gets the nano, just diving through the remaining members of the Shanghai Wagons. Nize able to come up big and all set up by that hack from Abels.
Yeah, Abel's looking for that Baptiste in the back. We can see him approaching that Baptiste. And he actually got detected by the Shanghai Wagons. I'm not sure what member was unable to capitalize on that. However, Kick hacked out, so that means the immortality field cannot follow through, and it's a free nano boost on the Nize for the blade. Or, well, not even the blade, but the nano boost, the Genji.
Yeah, they've still got the blade. They've still got the EMP. They've got everything except for that nano ready to go for this next fight. So an opportunity now for a snowball. If they can hit a big EMP, the mines come out early. Abel's still hanging on to that ultimate, but they've already lost Nize before the blade could come out. And this opening dive might have just been to kind of force some tools out of the side of Shanghai Wagons. Both those support ultimates go down.
Yeah, they got both the critical support ultimates out, and most importantly, they kept their EMP on their blade, which means, I mean, if they get a huge EMP, those ultimates that Shanghai Wagons have online mean nothing. They literally mean nothing.
And they might just wait for the nano. Mayo now up to 75%, basically just healed up all of Lectrix's health pool to build up towards that ultimate. They can just stall for a little bit longer, poke, get some more damage in onto the Hanks that Mayo could heal, and then go in for the ultimate wombo combo. The EMP nano blade could be just the recipe.
Yeah, and that supercharger already forced out, so that's a target that you don't guaranteed need in your EMP now. However, with gas going down and Abels as well, time off the clock for Arcane Dragons.
Time off the clock, but also ultimates out of the bank here. No Bob available for Eagle now. No supercharger for Joey. It's gonna be a lot on Mumpy in my mind. If the gravitic flux can kind of keep Nize from popping off, but crucially, he's got to avoid that EMP.
Or even Cake just avoiding the EMP, or even Noya, Noya could get a huge whip shot onto the Genji as they engage, and then no dash resets means that Genji can't really do much, so maybe just a hack onto the two supports would be another crucial thing that Arcane Dragons need to look for.
Oh, and so far, Shanghai has been so good about just focusing down gas on this Winston, really keeping the Winston from being able to go in deep. Now the Nano Blade is out, no EMP to connect with it, but Nize still finding a couple of kills immediately. Now looking for a little bit more damage in onto the Orisa. Joey will fall. Melon can't get anything going with his own EMP, and that could just be it there. There's going to be time for these staggers to get back out here, but they have no ultimates to work with, and the EMP still online.
Yeah, that critical ultimate's still online. They didn't use everything. They just invest one critical ultimate at a time, and it looks good for the Arcane Dragon.
Indeed, now they just got to finish off Mompy here, trying to buy some time on the Winston, and they will do it. It's a little bit slower in terms of time bank than what Shanghai was able to accomplish, but we're going into extra rounds relatively neck and neck here.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit slower, but it's still within the sort of 1 or 2 fight territory where you can scout, then get set up, and then sort of set up for that big point B fight. So they're both around the same time bank where there's no real extra fights, just extra setup time for Shanghai.
No, for sure. I mean, this is still very, very even right now. And, going back to that attack, I actually really, really appreciate what Arcane Dragons were able to do there and the patience that they show on that point B attack, especially slowly kind of bleeding Shanghai dry in terms of ultimates before going in with all of theirs, all of that power to bear. And, it works out wonderfully for them. They're able to finish it quite cleanly. They don't have to take multiple attempts or multiple, one fights to actually finish off the point. And now they're looking to replicate it once again here as they appear to be rolling out with a very similar composition.
I just really liked and appreciate the fact that they scouted their opposition and then changed their composition accordingly. Went back to something they're a little bit more comfortable with. Setting up their win conditions has been something they've been really strong at with this Genji Sober composition in particular. So if they can keep doing that, I feel like they're a strong pick for success for this grand final matchup.
Yeah, I'm really looking now to Noya Sucks to try and help keep Cake very safe on this defense, because the thing that broke everything open last time was a big hack onto the Batiste. No immortality field. This time they're going to try and set up with a Bionade onto the high ground. Potentially it lands, but no one there to receive it, and that's going to be pretty troublesome now for the Arcane Dragons as they try to push in. They've already lost gas in the meantime, and they do manage to pick off Melon, so an opportunity here as they've gotten a bit of an entry in towards, past the choke point. They've got Shanghai Wagons bottled up towards the point.
Yeah, they've already given themselves access to the high ground. Here comes the pile drive and then the access from the Winston. This is going to be brutal.
They just delete Cake off the face of the earth. Doesn't even have time to react with the immortality field. Not sure if that was even up off cooldown this time around. And that's going to be another quite clean fight here for Arcane Dragons. They push through point A, and now they set their sights on B.
Yeah, Arcane Dragons are just showing fantastic initiative and decision-making in fights. So their original plan was to try and get an anti-grenade onto the high ground. They kind of had their Stormburst setup ready to go with the hack onto the Baptiste. They were unable to do that. They lost gas, however, they got a pick and they were able to adapt and then go for a new dive once gas was there after they forced Shanghai off of the high ground, and that new dive was perfect. The power drive, the Winston jump, and the Genji dash all combining for huge damage.
And now they just feed over some healing over to Mayo to get that nano boost online. They've got the blade combo ready to go. Another hack on the Cake. No immortality field available at all. And now Nize looking for more targets, trying to turn his attention to the tank line. Will be able to contribute to that kill onto Mompy, and all of the members of the Shanghai Wagons falling one by one. They deal with Lectics, but no other kills coming in right now. Even as Noya Sucks trying to buy time, they don't have the power to find kills right now unless this Gravitic Flux can come up big.
Yeah, it has to be massive, but you can't use it when you're hacked out of it! Apples coming up clutch!
Yeah, gets the EMP down, and with Bob really the only one remaining on the point, Noya Sucks will fall. No one else from the Shanghai Wagons is really going to be able to make much of a fight of this, and 2 points on the board for Arcane Dragons. That was flawless.
Yeah, they managed to get that hook on the kick in the backline. Who's hiding? He's properly hiding away from that storm, making sure that they can't get fined. But still, Nanobig comes online, no immortality field available, and there's nothing really Shanghai Wagons could do except hide around their Torbjorn and turn and hope that gets the kill, and it doesn't. And Arcane Dragons secure 2 points again on the board, and Shanghai Wagons have got to do the same if they want any hope of winning this grand final.
Yeah, their time is running out. They've got to come up with a clutch attack here, and that's gonna be hard. They don't have necessarily the same level of kind of like snowbally comp that Arcane Dragons were working with the EMP and the Nanoblade. They're running a much more standard setup that takes a little bit more time to come online and tends to have a harder time like closing out those final fights on point B.
So what Shanghai Wagons composition is it's a lot more consistent and a lot more stable. With the Baptiste break, of course, the Ana can be easily dived and pressured out by shields, but the Baptiste break don't really find that problem because you can use that exo boost above the shields. You can just break the shields because Baptiste shield break is surprisingly impressive. So you've got a lot of options when you're running that Bat break support line. However, Arcane Dragons, when they've been playing this composition, they've been setting up for the win conditions perfectly. Even back on the Pulse Shrine, we go back and think about it, Shanghai Wagons were the more consistent team on that map. However, once those win conditions were set for Arcane, they set them up perfectly and won fights just off of those conditions.
Indeed, but now it's going to be Shanghai who have to try to set themselves up for success. They're trying to push through this narrow choke point, and they're doing exactly what they want to with this comp, but they can't get the better of the Astral Avils. With that damage boost is now raining terror from the high ground, able to pick up 2 quick kills. That puts an end to this first push.
Yeah, Avils look so much more confident in the match when they have the resources to take on Eagle. Eagle definitely getting the better of that Astral and Rionto, but from here on in, once Avils have their resources in Chiss, the Astral has just kind of gone the way of Arcane Dragons, and I think Shanghai Wagons, they need to take a quick reset and just think about, we need to get both points, and that's all that matters right now. And they need to stay in the series, not get too greedy and think about winning it. They need to stay in the series to make sure they have a chance at this grand finals. Otherwise, Arcane Dragons are going to run away with it.
You got to keep your head in the game right now, because time is now becoming pretty short for the Shanghai Wagons, because their comp is not going to win fights incredibly quickly. They're going to have to grind these ones out. And by the time they even if they do break through point A here, by the time they do it, Arcane Dragons are going to build up to some of those ultimates for the first defense. So the snowball, I don't think, is really going to be a possibility here. This is looking like a real uphill climb now for Shanghai.
Yeah, it's difficult. But Shanghai, not this Shanghai in particular, but Shanghai are used to climbing uphill battles. Remember, the Shanghai Dragons were the worst team in Overwatch 6 Season 1, and maybe they can complete a similar feat to the team that they've created a meme on, and that's what they'll be looking to do, to finish off Anubis and hopefully claw their way back in this grand final.
Yeah, well, we'll see what the answer is going to be now for Shanghai Wagons. They're going for the exact same push once again here. Forced to use the Immortality Field to get through the choke point is going to delay them a little bit here. Melon almost going down, gets the deflect up just in time to keep himself safe. And now we're going to see another fight here with the Amp Matrixes traded, but Mayo the one going down, so Shanghai finally finding some purchase here. They get a couple of quick kills with the use of that Immortality, or with that Amp Matrix, and now they're just looking to press the attack and go for it. Eagle up onto the high ground, able to deal with Avils, and that's going to be point A going over to Shanghai. That part is done, but the rest is where it gets really, really tough.
That pause definitely helped them out. That was a nice mental reset for them. They were able to just kind of think about what they wanted to do, and they sets up for Melon getting in the backline. And now we've got a crazy last fight on our hands. Ultimates online for both teams. Let's see who gets the better of them.
Yeah, I mean, 1 minute now to work with here for Shanghai Wagons. Do or die in this situation. if they go for this long rotation, I'm not sure that they're going to be able to get a second fight should they lose the first. So kind of going all in, putting all the chips to the center of the table, and they've got to come up big. Melon with the blade here. They want to get that rally for Noya Sucks online so that he can have a little bit more armor when he goes in with the blade, but they're going to commit with the Gravitic Flux. The halt pulls everybody in, but so far, the Molten Core from Nize just blocking everyone away. It adds so much damage to that Gravitic Flux in the fight, going in the direction of Arcane Dragons so far. They've got Shanghai Wagons pinned into a corner here, and now it's all down to this.
That's it. I don't think they can even get back on the point and engage properly. Their members got staggered up the engagements. Wasn't good enough for Shanghai Wagons, and Arcane Dragons look set to win this one.
Yeah, they're going to be able to close this one out. It's just dealing with the Wrecking Ball. It's going to try to get back in here on the speedy Lucio, but it's not going to happen. Arcane Dragons close it out with a 3-1 victory, and they do it by going a little bit off meta, and you've got to praise them for their versatility throughout this series and their resilience. The way they adapted was just a beauty and a sight to behold. Really well played on their side.
Yeah, and we can't really discredit Shanghai Wagons. They were fantastic, particularly on the run. So that time was something to be really, really proud of. And the way it sucks, really, really good on the Brigade points, kick on the Baptiste. Got a little bit unfortunate with the hacks coming through from Apples, and I mean that was such an exciting series from both teams. And Eagle also deserves a lot of credit for their work on the Ash, especially on Rialto, making sure. I mean, they forced Arcane Dragons to change their game plan. They forced them to give more resources to Apples. I mean, it worked out for Dragons, but it was still a nice change in pace for the Wagons to have.
Yeah, the Wagons came into the series and they seemed like they were really, really prepared to run the meta comp and play the mirror extremely effectively. But once things got a little bit off the books, the Arcane Dragons adapted and overcame what Shanghai was throwing at them. So incredibly well played. As now we get to the end of the series, and you know what that means. It's time to do some interviews in just a little bit. We're gonna get a couple members of the Arcane Dragons in here to talk with us about this series, but don't go anywhere. We will be right back with that one. All right, we are back now with a bit of a winner's interview now with a couple members of the victorious Arcane Dragons. We are joined by Apples and Lectus after a great series. So first off, congratulations on the win here today, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, we'll start with this. We know that you guys earlier in the day were competing in Open Division, played 4 matches earlier today, if everything we were told is correct, and then came straight into this grand finals. So, what kind of challenges does that pose to the team to have to play that many matches, kind of back to back to back?
Well, playing a whole day of Overwatch is like very exhausting. So I think like now we're all kind of relieved that it's kind of over, because staying concentrated for that long is very exhausting.
Just a side note, Abbott's also had a concert today. So...
Oh yeah, I was gone for like an hour or something, so we had to get a sub 40 as well. It was kind of stressy, but yeah.
Well, well played to kind of persevere through all of that here today. I mean, throughout this series in particular, it seemed like you guys really adapted to what you saw out of Shanghai Wagons. Particularly on those last couple of maps, we started to see the Torb come out, as well as the kind of the Mercy pocket for you, Abels. So what was kind of the process of coming to that as like a counter comp, and was it something that you guys have practiced a lot recently?
On Rialto, we saw that like our mirror meta is not that good. Like we also didn't scrim meta a lot. So on Desert World we usually won the top either way. So we just went out with it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same on Anubis. We usually play the top there.
And for Abels, you started getting a little bit more kind of support in the form of that Mercy and the damage boost that it provides. What does that do for your kind of confidence in taking duels and playing that hit scan threat?
I think in general, since I'm mostly a Widow player, it kind of plays a bit more towards my playstyle of not just being like spamming shields, but actually getting value through picks and stuff like that. So I think we're playing a bit more to playstyle there than when I'm just playing regular spam.
All right.
Awesome. So I'm gonna ask a few more questions. First of all, Apples, I'm gonna be a bit mean. I'm gonna ask you what happened on Rialto with a little incident on the canal.
Oh, yeah. So I was speaking bridge there, and I got spammed out a bit. So I like hopped on the boat to like save myself from spam, and like the part of the boat where I dropped on first, where I could stand on first, I jumped on like a pixel to the right or some shit later to get back, and I couldn't stand there, so I just left in the river. Happens, I guess. Very glad that my team carried me there and won regardless.
Yeah, all right, it was super hilarious to watch. But one thing I really want to ask both of you, and this is like a super open-ended question: do you think your opposition made any mistakes, or was there anyone in the opposition you felt like kind of let themselves down in that grand final? It's a bit of an evil question to ask, but I always like to give the opportunity for teams to throw some shade.
Well, I think they played fairly well. I think I don't know. For Koth, maybe I think we just like we're practiced a lot on Koth, and they seemed a bit weaker on Koth. They're definitely a lot better than us in the like spam mirror match. So and they seem very practiced in the spam mirror match, but like in the matchup from spam into not like mirror comps, they seem a bit weaker. So we kind of get to abuse that.
We also noticed that their BAP used the most. Like we tried to force them very quickly, and that worked most of the time.
Yeah.
With petition.
Yeah, that's super awesome. Now I'm gonna ask a question for you guys, mainly on what do you have to advertise? Who do you want to shout out in your team for one, and then do you want to sell yourselves as players, because we know you guys are highly elo, and you want to maybe branch out into maybe contenders or Watch League, etc.
I don't have anything to say for myself, but watch Refresh, watch Tier 3, support Tier 3, support Tier 2.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna be on casting Reflash in like an hour and a half. So nice. I appreciate the shout out.
No problem.
That's nice. Yeah, just in general, like if you want to see more stuff like that, I think like our org is also doing broadcast. I'm not sure if they're doing a D, but I think they're going to do a few of our matches in the future, like Celestial Esports TV. And yeah, in general, just like support Tier 2, Tier 3, and all that stuff.
tier 1 too if you want.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, before we let you guys go, I do always like to give players an opportunity to kind of shout out people behind the scenes who don't necessarily always get a lot of shine in these moments. But you guys just got a big win. So who are kind of some of the people that have helped you guys get to this point?
I want to shout out Azure for letting me play ball. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I think Azure is Azure's our coach for the people that don't know. That's obviously a huge part in us being where we are. He's been. I mean, we're kind of built the team out of two teams. Like when was that? A few months ago. But before the two teams we were on, he also coached those two teams. So he's been our coach for quite some time. And yeah, I think he's been a huge help, obviously. And then, like, for the memes, I gotta shout out Greece as well. our nice translator whenever we need something French.
Got it.
A very, very essential skill role over here in Europe, to be sure. Okay, I'll close with this before we let you go. Just from your two perspectives, who do you think on your team really kind of showed up and played like out of their mind today? Who was the MVP for you guys?
You can say yourselves.
Yeah, big yourself up. I love to hear that as well.
I've had on this upgrade, so no.
Yeah, I think I'd have to rewatch the stream to see if anyone was standing out particularly. But I think we just all played very well in the teamwork, did the dream work, you know.
Okay, that's what we love to hear. So thanks for being humble in that situation. Giving credit to the team. That's always the most important part. But we will let you guys get out of here. Go celebrate the big win with your team. Congrats on the victory here today. It was really well earned.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, Ocean. That brings us to the end of the day here, and like what a day of matches we had. I mean, both of them really back and forth throughout the series. Arcane Dragons as well as Benchwarmer Zero. Big congrats to both of those teams here today. Arcane Dragons winning the expert division, our highest level here at GitGud EU, and a really well fought series throughout.
Yeah, I mean, two awesome series, two awesome grand finals, and I think that's going to end us off if you want to take us out.
Yeah, I just want to thank everybody for joining us here today, for supporting GitGud in general across the board. We're going to have more grand finals coming up over the next couple of days in NA and EU, so be sure to keep your eyes on that. Tune in whenever you have the chance, and thank you all for joining us here today. We'll see you next time.